The Cortlandt Street World Trade Center station on the number 1 line has a sorrow yet interesting history. This station was first opened in 1918 as a part of the IRT 7th Avenue line and our lovely dual contracts. It sits at 180 Greenwich Street in Lower Manhattan, in a part of Lower Manhattan once known as Radio Row, mainly due to the many electronics dealers scattered around the area. When it was first opened, not much was interesting with the station. It was just an ordinary IRT station with 2 side platforms and 2 tracks. It had a few mosaics depicting fairies. I wonder why. During the 1960s, the station saw extensive renovations, with the platforms being extended and the exits being repositioned to allow for easier access to the new World Trade Center complex being constructed above. The renovation saw the station receiving beige brick walls on platform level. While some people I've talked to who used the station in the 1990s claim it was a bland design, I disagree. Many of the IRT stations we see daily have legitimately bland white tiling. While the various mosaics in the stations make up for this, it is nice to see a change every once in a while. That might be why I'm not a big fan of the 2nd Avenue subway design. In the 1980s, the station became the first to have timetables installed for passengers to know how long their wait for the train will be. This came during the time of decreased service levels, as the Transit Authority was facing a massive loss in ridership and a graffiti epidemic. I plan to create a video focusing on this era of the subways in the near future. Following the World Trade Center bombing of 1993, trains bypassed the station. However, not for long, as just a few days later, trains again stopped at the Cortlandt Street Station. The post-disaster reconstruction wasn't as speedy for the tragedy which would occur a decade later. Immediately after the first plane struck One World Trade Center on September 11, 2001, a train operator reported an explosion to the rail control center. Subway service was halted shortly after, with no 1 trains running between Chambers Street and South Ferry. A little over 20 minutes after the South Tower collapse, and 8 minutes before the North Tower collapsed, at 10:20 a.m., all subway service was suspended throughout the entire system. Service resumed a little over 2 hours later, however with extensive disruptions. I think in the future a video discussing 9/11 service changes would be a better way to describe the disruptions caused by this catastrophic event. Following the collapses of the various buildings in the World Trade Center complex, the Cortlandt Street Station was heavily damaged. 2 options were considered for the station, and the subsequent line south of Chambers Street. Either the existing line would be repaired, or a new tunnel would be constructed, with the line heading to a new terminal at South Ferry. They chose the former option to quickly restore service to the Rector Street and South Ferry Station. With the tracks and tunnels near Ground Zero being destroyed, much of it needed to be rebuilt. Over a year after the attacks, on September 15, 2002, the 7th Avenue line south of the Chambers Street Station reopened, with 1 train stopping at both Rector Street and South Ferry, however, bypassing the site of the Cortlandt Street Station. At first, officials only wanted to reopen Rector Street and South Ferry, and not Cortlandt. However, due to the station's vital location, a permanent closure was infeasible. The Cortlandt Street Station was originally intended to be reopened in 2009, 8 years after the attacks. However, the reopening was delayed, like many other MTA projects. In October 2008, the Port Authority came to an agreement with the MTA to reconstruct the station. However, construction didn't really progress much until 2015, when the MTA gained control of the reconstruction project. The station was finally reopened in October 2018 to the cost of $181 million. It featured a completely new, modern design. This station includes countdown clocks, cameras, and air conditioning, something the 1 line lacks in many places. I love this line, but goddamn it is hot. The station is very interesting in its design, as it has a mural on the walls which stretches nearly the entire platform. It also connects to the Oculus thing, which has other stations in it, but of course they are not within fare control. Cortlandt Street was also reconstructed with an underpass, allowing passengers to easily switch over to a train heading in the opposite direction. It's always nice to see these. This station is one of my favorites in the system, not only because it is served by the one line but also because of its design. It's different, and I like that about this station. I mentioned two things that I think would be suitable topics for a Tales from the Subway video: 9/11 service changes and the subway system in the 1980s. In the comments below, tell me if you like these topics and would like to see them in a future video. If you enjoyed the video and you would like to get more from Mystic Transit, like, subscribe, and consider supporting me via channel memberships or super thanks. Special thanks to Stuart Guberman for joining the channel at the train operator tier.